If that girl ignores you or acts like you don't even exist when y'all get into it, she's an avoidant. If she struggles to show deep and big emotions with you, she's an avoidant.
Guess who used to be a dismissive avoidant? Me. Yep. You got feelings and emotions? Bye. You got a problem? See you later. Can't help ya. Super hyper independent, and I did not like clingy men. Clingy men, like it repulsed me.
Hello. As a woman with an avoidant attachment style, I'd like to get on here and represent us for a little bit because I'm tired of y'all talking about us like dogs. Before I start this video, I want to say, avoidant attachment style is not the worst thing you could be. Anxious attachment style is not no better. If you're not secure, you can't say nothing.
I've been in a 3-year relationship with an avoidant. I didn't know. I was clueless, honestly.
Because when you allow that hurt to carry on into multiple relationships, you give the person that hurt you power. They still got governance over your emotions and your relationships and the way you're moving forward. Sometimes as men, when we get in relationships with women, things is great. We having a good time, the honeymoon phase, we really enjoying it. Until things start to tighten up. An emotional wall starts to build and you start getting one-word responses. The emotion is starting to fade, you're starting to build up a wall which she won't let you pass. We call that avoidant attachment style. And that's what we're here to talk about today. But before we start getting into avoidant attachment style, it's your boy JP. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Join the Prosper gang. We keeping it PG. There's a whole lot of prosperity going on around this mug, you feel me? And without further ado, let's get into this video.
If that girl ignores you or acts like you don't even exist when y'all get into it, she's an avoidant. If she struggles to show deep and big emotions with you, she's an avoidant. If she sweeps stuff under the rug every time you try to problem solve, she's an avoidant, and she may not be the one for you.
If you're a man dating an avoidant woman, the goal should not try to be like, oh, how do I get her back? How do I get her to... Look, no. The goal is for you to release her, okay?
Guess who used to be a dismissive avoidant? Me. Yep. You got feelings and emotions? Bye. You got a problem? See you later. Can't help ya. Super hyper independent, and I did not like clingy men. Clingy men, like it repulsed me if a man was clingy. Because as an avoidant, or as a previous avoidant, because I have since healed that part of me, this meant pressure. And we didn't really get along because I like to have a chill life. I like a soft, calm vibe type of girl. I don't like that rah emotional shit, okay? I'm just being real. Whenever intimacy would increase, because we got to realize intimacy is not just, oh my god, like butterflies, it's also stress, okay? Like when you have intimate moments with your partner and then conflict arises, stress comes out of that, okay? I had to realize that intimacy was a little deeper than, walks in the park and all the giggly shit. Like emotional presence felt like, oh my god, this person wants me to tell them how I feel about them. Like why? So that they can use it against me later? That they can try to like manipulate me into doing things that I wouldn't be okay with. Dan, that's like emotional immaturity. Like we're underdeveloped emotionally. Like sure, we should be calm when emotions are heightened and we're in conflict, but resorting to just being calm and shutting down is not emotionally mature. Like we still have to be present in the conversation and we still have to respond. Like conflict does not have to just be someone talking at you and you just not going to resolve anything. Like the conflict is still there. We have to be able to think about what's happening without shutting down and be able to get ourselves to respond. Even if we're not necessarily ready to respond, we can say something like, you know what? I hear you. I deeply feel for you, but I need a second to just process everything. And that's okay. Like people have different processing times. I wanted to come on here and say like, secure attachments, they're not hard to get to. It's really just about reprogramming our brain and our nervous system to be accepting of what our styles are and learning from it, not making it a personality trait. I think that's the #1 killer in all relationships, like intimate, familial, and friendships. So if you need support, you know where to find me. Link in bio.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong at all. A lot of relationships fail due to communication, and having an avoidant attachment style is a fail of communication, right? So you do need to have some form of partnership and agreement with your partner for that to work out right. I do feel that a lot of avoidant attachment styles is a coping mechanism due to like either past relationships, childhood trauma, things of that nature that makes you realize that this is the way for me to protect myself and keep myself from being taken advantage of, mistreated. It's a control factor. And to a degree, I'm kind of avoidant. I'm more anxious than I would say avoidant. Let's say it like this. I'm avoidant with the bros and I have anxiousness with my girl. That's typically how I rock, right? So I'm a little bit more clingy to my girl than I am with my bros. Mainly probably because I trust my girl more than just about anybody because she know more about me and know more of my vulnerability than some of my bros do. So that's probably what that is.
Hello. As a woman with an avoidant attachment style, I'd like to get on here and represent us for a little bit because I'm tired of y'all talking about us like dogs. Before I start this video, I want to say avoidant attachment style is not the worst thing you could be. Anxious attachment style is not no better. If you're not secure, you can't say nothing. So if you're an anxious, but you always talking about the avoidance and how terrible they are and how demonic, evil, monstrous we are, you're not that much better. We are two sides of the same unhealthy, unhealed coin. So
That's true. I definitely agree that neither anxious nor avoidant is any better than one another. Like I think they both, one needs constant validation and one it's hard to get anything out of them. You know what I mean? I always feel like Aries, if you're an Aries, I don't know if y'all any Aries up in this thing, but I always feel like Aries have a very avoidant attachment style. Like you can't get nothing out of them. Crazy.
let's get that straight. But no, for real, as someone with an avoidant attachment style, the feeling that I get when I start getting feelings of somebody is pretty much the same way that an anxious person feels. Like, I feel anxious too. I also worry that, like, oh my gosh, what if this doesn't work out? What if they don't want me? What if? I do all of that. I just act differently. I hope that makes sense. I also
I definitely get it. Like you feel the same response, and that's kind of like people pleasers and people that rebel typically birth from the same type of trauma. They just take two separate paths. Same thing with avoiding and anxiousness. Those attachment styles come from the same place. They're just people choose to react to those emotions differently. So that's typically what that is. So I definitely understand what you're saying.
same racing thoughts, but my way of getting rid of those thoughts is not to reach out for more connection like anxious people do. My way of soothing those thoughts is to be like, okay, well, let's just cut it off now. Let's just leave them. Let's just leave them. Let's cut them off today so we don't have to get our feelings hurt tomorrow. You see what I mean? Because though we do have the same feelings, the fear behind it is different. Like, anxious people's biggest fear is like, oh my God, what if I end up alone? Like, what if I end up alone? Avoidant attachment people is like, okay, what if I lose a part of myself and I can never get it back because I'm so enthralled with you and I don't even get to be me anymore because I'm so with you. So I don't mind being alone. Being alone is not the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I quite enjoy it. But to act on it, like to act on the going to find connection thing and risking how I am on the inside, risking my internal, what's the word I'm looking for? Balance, risking my emotions. That part is a bit too far for me. That's a bit much. That's why a lot of times people with avoidant attachment styles, they start getting feelings, things start getting serious between the two of you, and then they pull back because we be scared. We don't want to get our feelings hurt. You don't want your feelings hurt. We don't want our feelings hurt. Your way of fixing that is to grab on and blow my phone up 8 million times and ask me why I'm not answering and pull up to my house and send me a bunch of stuff. My way of not getting my feelings hurt is to turn this phone off. I'm not going to do that. I'm turning it off. I'm turning it off. And I might be cutting you off by tomorrow. So you might want to.
I do think both parties, both anxious and avoidant, needs to figure out where the root of that problem comes from, heal that so they don't carry that into further relationships. It's nobody else's fault why you choose to be avoidant. That's solely on you. That ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. If you can't figure out how to heal that, you are gonna be the only one that suffer the consequences for that. Let me tell y'all something straight up. When it comes to childhood trauma, and this is gonna sound harsh, but it's the truth. And this is not just for women, because men are avoidant too, right? I want y'all to understand this. This is very important. You are not responsible for the trauma that enters your life, but you will suffer the consequences for not healing that trauma. I'm going to say that again. You are not responsible for the trauma that enters your life. You didn't ask for it. You didn't call for it. It's not your fault. But you will suffer the consequences of the trauma you do not heal. As an adult, it is your responsibility to heal from your trauma. People hurt us and we want closure. Go get the closure you need. And then go heal. Hold on. Whatever they did to you was wrong. And you don't deserve that. You deserve a better circumstance. But life ain't fair. And as adults, we are responsible to heal from that. So hopefully this can be something you can think about and at least be the beginning stages of you finding that closure or finding the origin of where that trauma came from. This is for both styles, not just one.
Hey, so being an avoidantly attached woman is actually one of the most uncomfortable, sinister, terrible, heart-wrenching experiences on the planet, and I would wish it upon nobody. And on top of that, extremely isolating. Most of my closest friends are women, and as much as they love me, they have a hard time understanding the experience because most of them are, outside of one of my girlfriends, are anxious and a few secure. You know, I know we all kind of fall on a spectrum. Like, not everyone is all one attachment style, but you tend to lean towards one. And so I just want to say, of any of other women that are actively putting in the work to heal that and, to confront, because I know for a fact that a large majority of you, it was a man that created that in you, or it was something parental. And it's super fucking annoying that it's something that was actively out of your control. And now you're struggling to experience one of the most beautiful things on the planet because someone else was a fucking idiot. So, I just want to express that. Love you, gang. Keep at it. I don't think you're evil, even though the internet sometimes paints you as that. Not saying that it's not an excuse for anyone of any attachment style to put their shit on other people, but also I have a lot of empathy for you and grace for you because that shit sucks.
For the people that think it's evil, and you gotta understand that human beings, as humans, we find coping mechanisms for the trauma we experience. So with that, it's irresponsible to call somebody evil for something that they're just trying to protect themselves from. You can criticize it. You can do your best to try to correct it or make them aware of it. But to call somebody evil, or not even gonna say evil, but just to diminish someone for doing something that protects them is a bit unfair in my opinion. You know what I mean? I do think and I do feel and have empathy for those that do have that. But again, as an adult, like I said before, you are responsible for fixing your issues, because if not, you're going to suffer the consequences for it. Meaning you're going to have a hard time finding a mate. People going to always call you out for the issues you keep bringing up because of your past trauma. And you're going to be the one left out in the cold for not being able to fix your issues. And that's why I hope to be able to help you do.
So let's talk about the avoidant woman, or I like to call it, my favorite type of woman. And I'm an anxious attached, so, I'm also part of the problem, but avoidant women are great. So the main difference, I think, between the avoidant man and the avoidant woman, in my opinion, is I think the avoidant woman is a little bit more interesting. There's a little bit more substance. You got to peel back layers like in Shrek, like avoidant woman is kind of like an onion. The women that comment in here would have to tell me about like what it's like to date and avoid a man, because I don't know anything about that. But yeah, there's like a mysteriousness to an avoidant woman, and that's kind of me being anxious. I get trapped into because I'm a bulldozer in a relationship. It's not a good thing, but I want to know more. I want to like figure out a way to peel back these layers. But, throughout my growth, I've understood, in coming from a more secure place, is that, you got to learn to know the avoidant woman. You have to learn. And what's difficult about them is that they don't outwardly tell you how to learn. There's signs, and they're the most subtle of signs, but they have.
One of the main ones is when you try to have intimate conversations, they have a hard time opening up. That's about as easy as it can get. If you date a woman that doesn't have, it's very difficult for her to be vulnerable. Or if you're dealing with a woman that does not have the ability to tell you when something is wrong with her or when she's upset, and be able to like maturely tell you where her issues is and try to problem solve, she is definitely avoidant. Yep. Definitely got to figure out how to deal with them, but the goal is to get them out of it. Again, if you dealing with somebody that's like this and they are, try to make them aware of it and have enough patience to help them fix it. It ain't gonna happen overnight, but it has to be fixed, because having an avoidant attachment style isn't a teamwork attachment style. And I've said this before on my channel, that being in a healthy relationship is teamwork. You have to have great chemistry, like Kobe and Shaq. You gotta like LeBron and Kyrie. You gotta have that chemistry. Without that chemistry, you ain't winning nobody's championship. You're not. So if you're dealing with somebody that's avoidant, imagine if Kobe was avoidant to Shaq. Maybe he would, I don't know. But imagine if Kobe was avoidant to Shaq. That chemistry wouldn't have been built for them to win those championships. Imagine if Kyrie and LeBron was avoidant with each other on the court. They wouldn't have won a championship. You got to be able to communicate with your partner and be able to build that rapport and that chemistry to make the relationship whole. Because with rapport and chemistry, it's not an issue that arises that y'all can't fix. It's not. Because if you communicate enough before, the problem might not even arise, or if it does arise, it's not going to arise as bad as it would have been if you never communicated, which will allow y'all to be able to communicate through it and fix it. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Some signs, and you really only get a few chances to figure them out. Especially nowadays, women are way more independent, way more receptive, and way more willing to cut their losses, And you gotta know that they're cold. They're cold. But they do love hard. And like I said, you're gonna have limited chances with an avoidant woman to figure it out. And the hardest thing, I think, is that you won't understand anything. Probably the same with the guys. But me being a guy, I could tell you that the guy's no good or whatever. But with them, is that it's the subtleties. You really have to be paying attention and receptive. They are like still highly intelligent, and a woman nonetheless. But they love hard. They love hard. They're still in touch with their emotions like a normal woman would be. But they aren't going to put their emotions out there for them to just get hurt. And so, like I said, they take a lot of care. And I don't think that they're high maintenance or anything, but, avoidant women are cold.
First things first, I'm going to start this video off by saying, shout out to TikTok, because if I wasn't scrolling on one of these random days, I never would have figured this out. I've been in a 3-year relationship with an avoidant. I didn't know. I was clueless, honestly. So you know how social media does. When you watch something fully through, it'll give you the same thing on the next slide. So I watched that one too, and I'm like, wait, hold up. It started becoming straight. I'm like, why are all these situations comparing to my situation? And I'm like, bro, did I just figure out what I needed to figure out, but it took me 3 years to figure out?
Yep, you sure did, buddy.
It was like relief, and like I was pissed in the same breath. I was like, bro, I should have figured this out a long time ago. Like, it's actually pretty simple. But the way avoidance make things play out and how the emotions and the reactions and everything, it's like you on a rock slide, fall into the depths of the sea. You know what I'm saying?
I think I'm gonna just go ahead and date outside of my race, outside of my culture, however you want to put it, because I just realized such a pattern in the Black community, and this is not all Black men, so please do not come for me. But it is a mass amount, especially in the culture that we've been brought up in, this sneaky link culture. It is just such a large mass of men that try to build connection through sex first, and it is so disgusting. So they do things like immediately, like I would tell a guy, hey, how you doing? And it's like, let's go out, let's go for drinks. I'm ready to see you. I want to see you. What you doing? What you doing? But when I talk to someone of the other race, everything is always on my terms. Everything is always when I'm ready. And it's like, what? It made me realize there's so much transactional love in the Black community, to the point where I don't even think I want to continue to even entertain my race anymore, because of the root of where this love comes from where it stems from. It's rooted in such conditional love. It's like,
Well, before you continue, I do want to say this. One thing you should not do is make a video online. I'm just assuming she's doing this based off the context clues that I'm seeing. That you should not make a video online with a harsh take like this and you hyperly emotional. Now y'all can tell based off the way this assumption is, you can tell that she sounds like she's highly emotional. You can hear it in her voice like she's about to cry. So I'm assuming something just happened before she hit the record button. So I'm assuming something just happened and you came to this conclusion immediately and you hopped online and just started yapping. And you said something that you probably gonna regret, because you shouldn't date other people because you're mad at your race. You don't really want them like that. You're using them as a coping mechanism the same way avoiding people use you being silent as a coping mechanism to avoid confronting the real issue. Like you say, the real issue is that sometimes things are transactional. Sometimes even men are avoidant and they're not healing. We have a lot of that. Men also have avoidant attachment styles. Again, like I say, I have that with my homies. I don't typically have that with women because I'm a lot softer and more vulnerable with women than I am with men. I'm just not like with men. It takes a lot to get out of me. With women, it's a little bit more easier for me to be transparent with you. With that, you should not just hop online when you're super emotional and you say some things that you probably don't really mean. You're just saying it out of hurt. But I can understand her frustration. Dealing with avoiding people is not easy. They make it hard. It makes you feel like you gotta earn their love. Sometimes dealing with somebody avoidant, especially if you really like them like that, can be the person that makes you an anxious attachment style, because you like that person so much that you became an anxious attachment style to try to fix their avoidance. So you just got to know how to approach the situation, and the goal is to get them out of it. But if you can't, you got to protect yourself.
chemistry is being, and this is, like I said, it's not all, but chemistry is being treated as enough for the connection. Like, the chemistry is the commitment. And I hate that for y'all. Either they want the intimacy immediately, sexual intimacy immediately, or they just want to jump straight into relationships, straight into marriage talk, it's like, where's the balance? Where is the...
And as a man, I'm going to speak on that, right? So sometimes men jump into the sex fast because with them being avoidant, they feel that, well, if I can't have you the way I really want you, I'll settle for the sex. I'm telling you. Now, granted, sometimes they might not like you like that. But for the ones that do like you like that, but they're just trying to get straight to the sex, is because they feel that whoever broke their trust, some women in their life broke their trust and they don't have the trust moving forward with women. So they feel like, well, if I could get sex out of you, then that's like that can be the bare minimum. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna settle for that. Because it's kind of like men that like they'll settle for the bare minimum because they know if they ask you for more, you're going to let them down. So if I just settle for sex and I get that, that's enough for me to get satisfied and I ain't got to ask for nothing else in return. Because if I ask for anything more, you probably going to let me down. That's one, right? And for the men that go straight into marriage, which I can be a little bit on that side, right? I'm going to keep it a buck. It's because, and that's the anxiousness of, well, if I secure you and I lock you in, you ain't going nowhere. Now, granted, I'm going to be honest, I don't do that no more. I ain't did that in a long time. Again, I'm not really like that with my girl. We've been together for a while, so it really don't work like that. But in the past, though, I jumped to progress in the relationship too fast, thinking that that's what she wanted so I could keep her. And now it's more like I'm mature with it and we're trying to do it the right way. You know what I mean? And make sure everything, all the ducks is in a row for sure.
Steps. Where is the courting? I feel like a lot of the people in the Black community have lost that's one tradition that I wish would stick around is courting. They have lost how to court people in a relationship, especially women. They're not courting.
And granted, you got to understand a lot of men didn't grow up with fathers in their house. Some of the women, some of the moms, depending on who the dad is, probably didn't expect that out of the dad. So if the mom didn't require the dad to do that, what do you think the son gonna do? He not gonna require that for women either, right? Because his mama didn't require that. Now that's some cases, not all, right? But it's just depending on the situation. And like we all grow up, both Black men and Black women grow up in households where we kind of got to figure it out. That's why a lot of women have avoidant attachment styles because they had to fend for themselves at young ages. So now that they adults, they figured everything out on their own. They really don't want to get emotionally attached to nobody because they couldn't get emotionally attached to their parents. Men the same way, or men are super anxious because they wanted their parents' approval so bad that their parents was avoidant, so they fought to get their approval. So now they fight for everybody's approval in their life. It's just how that works, but that's because that's the environments we grew up in. So I always say with us, we just try to have a little bit more patience. We grew up in these circumstances, and that's just what it is. And you know, I ain't perfect. My girl got patience with me. I got patience with her. We trying to figure this out together. I need to hurry up and take our damn dogs out. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning.
They're just searching for the next fix and offering a woman to drinks immediately, which I started saying I don't even drink. Now what else you got to say? And by me saying I don't even drink, it has pushed a lot of people away.
And you gotta do what you gotta do, dog. I ain't mad at you.
Low effort as hell, but it's high access. And the thing is, alcohol can make you vulnerable. Why do you want a woman to be so vulnerable with you immediately? Why do you need that instant gratification?
Just hear me out. I know I'm long-winded, I'm sorry, but she hitting some points I want to talk about. If he's an avoidant attachment style, he probably is avoidant because he don't trust you. So, and I'm saying very rarely. I'm not saying every man like this. So please don't think you're going to start getting drunk in front of men. That's dangerous. Please, as a woman, do not do that if you don't know him. But for a man, sometimes, if a man doesn't know you, and I ain't gonna lie, my girl a little avoidant. She is. I'm anxious, though. In some cases. Not all, but like I said, in my relationships, I am, right? Sometimes I want her to get a little lit because it forces her to open up because she wouldn't open up either other way. She's probably avoidant in some ways or anxious in some way. No, I don't think she's anxious. Maybe she is. But if you aren't vulnerable when you're sober, maybe him getting you lit is him wanting you to be a little bit vulnerable. Because I ain't gonna lie, that's why I am with my girl. I'm like, dang, you don't open up by nothing, dog. God dang. And sometimes I just accept it is what it is. Because eventually she got to, because I can play that game too. We both can play this game. You don't want to talk? I ain't got to talk either. This can be a long waiting game. But eventually she opened up. Sober or not, but I like her to be a little lit though. When she a little lit, she get to talking a little bit too much, and then we both have a good time. That's why she don't want to get drunk around me and get lit around me. She don't want to talk. It's all right. I'm gonna get you there. Well, don't worry. I'm gonna get you there. Don't worry. Anyway, yeah, that could be a reason. But please don't get drunk around no men you don't know. That's dangerous for sure.
Why is the intention always drinks? Why not daylight? Why not intention? And in the Black community, the root cause of that transactional love comes from what you can provide, not just showing up as who you are. And it really is disgusting. Disgusting that this behavior has evolved over time, even from slavery. Like, this behavior has evolved.
And with that, you already saying it's evolved. So then that's when you have a little bit more pain. You can't say that, what you're saying right now, then go say, well, now I'm gonna go date the people that put us in slavery. You can't do that, baby. I'm sorry. That's bad. Now you probably should have cut the video off. And now but I get you just talking and trying to figure this out in your head. This is why I say you do not record. Because if she did this off camera, she would have thought, okay, maybe I shouldn't go online and say I want to date white men. Like, you probably shouldn't do that. Or maybe she didn't say white men in particular. She said just different races. But again, regardless, I probably shouldn't have got online and said that, right? Because now you're starting to talk this through, and now it's starting to make sense. And this is why you got to wait till your emotions calm down before you start recording on the goddamn video. But shout out to you though. I'm at least she's doing the self-reflection and trying to understand it. So salute to her for that.
Into this protection, love, sex, money, it became currency in the Black community. And like I said, I really hate that for us.
So what y'all thinking? Do y'all have avoidant attachment styles or y'all anxious attachment styles? Let me know in the comments. How do y'all feel about this and what I had to say? Y'all agree with me? Y'all disagree with me? I believe if you have these attachment styles, I can understand where they come from. Again, we all coping with the way we grew up or the people we was in relationships with in the past. But it's our responsibility to fix these things. Because if not, only we will suffer the consequences for it. If somebody else hurts you, they moved on with their life. They're doing their own thing, whether they're whether they happy or whether they sad, whether they ain't none of your business, but they doing their own thing. You gotta play clean up for your own life. And unfortunately, it's like that, but that's just how it is out here. So it's important to take responsibility for that. Find out where the root of where that came from and do the healing to help fix what's necessary so you can maneuver into the next relationship with a cleaner and well thought out mind, right? So don't allow these people to, because when you allow that hurt to carry on into multiple relationships, you give the person that hurt you power. They still got governance over your emotions and your relationships and the way you're moving forward, because you allowing them to have that by not letting go of that hurt that they caused on you. When they put that on you, you still wearing it like a coat that's just too fly to take off. Take that damn coat off. You need to take that coat off. And you need to put on a new coat that you made from scratch, because you healed from scratch and you made the necessary knits to make that mug fit just right. I ain't gonna lie, that ain't worth the goddamn subscribe. Ain't nothing worth the subscribe. Like I say, hit the like and subscribe button. Join the Prosper Gang. We keeping it PG. There's a whole lot of prosperity going on around this mug. You feel me? Remember, there is nothing impossible. Today we try. So next time I'm out, dope.